Welcome to the 2026 Sundance Film Festival lineup preview here on the Intercut podcast channel. I am your co-host Zachary Shevich, and joining me, one red iguana isn't enough, so he eats at Red Iguana 2. It's Arturo Zurita.
It's the final years, man. Imagine going all the way over there just to have red iguana.
I mean, we might have to make a thing of it. Do you think Amanda is
from Boulder?
Do you think Amanda's more excited this year for the movies or for the mango mole?
Mango mole.
Yeah.
That's where she's at actually right now. Is in
she
line
couldn't
for
be
mango
here.
mole.
Yeah, we are not joined by Amanda the Jedi for our Sundance preview. She sends her love from the Critics' Choice Awards. Maybe we'll get some picks from Sundance from her and superimpose them later. But it's the usual two for the Sundance preview. We've done this plenty of times together, but we can do it again. We are excited for more movies in Park City.
It's going to be a big one. As everybody knows, this is going to be the final year of Sundance in Utah. If you've caught the Intercut podcast, if you've seen all my videos way back from the A to Z show, Sundance and Utah go hand in hand. I mean, it's why it has its name, and a lot of people realize that they've been looking for a new location. Sundance Cinetti, Zach, was a phrase that was on our minds not too long ago. But they chose the right place, and they're going to Colorado. I've been seeing so many Colorado pictures and advertisements, especially during the playoffs. Dude, there's some places in Colorado look just like Sundance. It's going to have a very similar feeling. You're still going to have that winter vibe. And like everything, we love going to the snowy mountains of Park City. Just to be in a dark room watching these movies, we're about to list for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I think when they announced the short list for places that Sundance might move, we had our fingers crossed for Boulder. We enjoy our time in Colorado, and we also didn't want Sundance to kind of lose that spiritual energy. Movie Christmas isn't quite the same if it's not snow covered, right? So I think a lot of Sundance's traditions will continue from the location change, but there are certain things that are definitely just going to be different, and one of those big differences is actually happening this year. How sad were you when you realized that we're not getting the return of the iconic Egyptian theater, and of course that iconic Egyptian theater marquee for this year's festival?
Well, I guess that's why they're selling merch for you to take it back home, because they got it on the mug, they got it on everything. I'm assuming that they're going to be hosting other events there, and that kind of stinks, because if it's going to be your first year in the last year that they're going to have it there, that has to be a venue for you to go. They've sacrificed it in exchange for the Yarrow, which to me is the Ray Jr., the Ray being one of our favorite theaters there. But you cannot compete with the Egyptian and its iconic status, even though it's the most difficult one to get to. Second to the Mountain Resort that they also took away, which for those of you who don't know, the Sundance Resort is out there an hour away. You got Salt Lake where you land. You got to go an hour to Park City where it actually is. And then the original Sundance was an hour away from there. We've had our adventures over there. It's something that I still would definitely tell people to go out and try. If you have, a group of friends who can make it out there, be safe. But that's a vibe unlike any other. Then Park City, it's its own thing. And then Salt Lake is also pretty cool as well. But seeing that this is going to be the final year, I'm excited to see a lot of the inner cuties, a lot of the listeners from LME and A to Z over there. Sundance has been a pivotal part of our movie watching. I don't even want to say careers, just lifestyles, a lot of firsts over there. And
a big part of our friendship, is going to these festivals together and meeting
No Sundance, people. We don't know each other practically, at that point. Tribeca ain't going to do it. Tribeca Festival? That's not where we link up.
Not the same.
Nah. We like going to the complete opposite of where all three of us live.
Exactly, yeah. We got to figure out where we're going to take the group picture, though, if we don't have this Egyptian backdrop anymore. I don't know if a group picture in front of the Ray, in front of the Comfort Inn?
Fresh Market, bro, in front of the Doubletree. I don't know.
That's a good call.
We'll
you did mention that we're getting the Yarrow back. That is one interesting thing about this year's fest in comparison to previous years. Between the Yarrow, the Ray, and then the Holiday Theater, which is going to be part of the second half of the festival, the first half if you're press. A lot of movies in close proximity to each other. You only got a small walk down the road for the Eccles, small walk down the road for the library. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I like it. So it should be really interesting. And of course, you can see our past videos when we've broken that stuff down. And you're always welcome to let us know. Tweet at us, DM us, let us know down below. We can answer any questions that you guys have, because it's always exciting just to see, we didn't really have that going in. We would have a lot of people who would tell us about the festival, but the ins and outs of it, you end up learning little by little. And I mean, I still have videos on A to Z that kind of break it down. They still get me accredited to this day. But any questions that you have, always feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
But I just want to start quickly, Zach. We got 5 movies. Before we give the shout out to the patrons, before we get deep into it, let's not waste any more time. We're here 5 minutes in. So what are your top 5, Zach?
Ooh, it's always hard to take a look at the lineup of dozens and dozens of films and narrow it down to just 5. I tried to get a couple from different categories. The first one that jumped out to me is one that I think is going to be near and dear to both of our hearts. In the documentary premieres, I am going with The History of Concrete, a movie that sounds very dull on its surface until you look at who is directing it. None other than How To's own John Wilson of the amazing HBO show. This is about his journey after attending a workshop on how to write and sell a Hallmark movie. John Wilson using that same formula to write a story about concrete. I just know it's going to be absolutely hilarious and like nothing that you're expecting.
Yeah, what's crazy about it is, let me pull mine up over here. I think I had my pick was also for Oh yeah, The History of Concrete, Zach. We should probably host a podcast together.
I think we should host a podcast.
You know what's so funny is that this man, and I seem to be missing it over here, but there it is. He did the same year that I started going, 2017. A How To Sundance. It's actually called Escape from Park City. Definitely go check that one out. It was his first experience at Sundance, having seen his show, which we've recommended highly. He has an incredible Emmys video where he breaks down what it was like to get nominated. Bro, I need to know what it's like to be at Sundance after he was a Sundance goer. I am beyond excited for a documentary. The fact that it has the most boring name possible just excites me even more. We're going to be there day one because it is also a day one premiere, Zach.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited for it. I'm going to be moving heaven and earth to try and get into that premiere, get into the Yarrow for that premiere screening. Yeah. And in also getting that first night screening, I feel like is a nice sign of approval from the Sundance. They usually don't want to spotlight those. They usually try to put a spotlight on big movies. Yeah.
Why not just bad reviews right off the top, right? Put all the poop right at the beginning so that people leave.
Exactly.
We'll see. I mean, we've had some good ones. Ghostlight just a couple of years ago was one of the first premieres that was there. Yep. And I always say, like, depending on which programmer you get, that really speaks on how big they see this movie and how they're going to push it. But continue your other 5.
Another movie that I've got here is in the U.S. dramatic category, and it comes from, I believe, a first-time feature director in N.B. Mager. I'm not sure how she pronounces there, or
we'll
I don't know if it's a man or a woman, actually. But Run Amok is their new film based on the short film that they made beforehand. This is about a teenage girl who decides to stage a musical reenactment of a tragedy that took place at her high school 10 years ago. I don't know why it's giving me just like vibes of the episode where Maude Apatow makes a play in Euphoria.
Bro,
like, is this play about us
about
kind of
us?
vibes?
Yeah.
But it just seems like a fun sort of, kind of a quirky story where you're balancing high school politics with this type of expression. There's a couple movies in the festival here that seem to be centered on high school theater between this and the musical with Rob Lowe. This is the one that
dramatic, yeah.
This is one that I'm leaning towards a little bit more. It's got Patrick Wilson, Margaret Cho, Elizabeth Marvel, Molly Ringwald, Bill Camp, and Yul Vasquez in the cast. A bunch of actors that I like. Curious to see what's happening in Run Amok.
Just stacked. And to answer your question right there, we got N.B. Mager right here. I'm sure she probably says her name right there, so we'll double back on that.
Cool.
But I know that this is also a short that she has. So it'll be interesting to see how that parallels there. But nice. What's your next one?
I'm going to go with How to Divorce During the War. This is one of the films out of the World Dramatic category, taking place in Ukraine. It's an interesting story about a couple who are dealing with marital strife amongst the backdrop of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how to navigate those feelings during a refugee crisis. I just think the mixture of domestic drama with extra political drama is a really kind of curious marriage of like high and low. There was also a really cool film we watched at Sundance a few years ago that was similarly sort of a domestic drama with the war in Ukraine playing out in the background. I'm struggling to remember the name of it. I'll superimpose it for the VOD.
Okay.
But I think a lot of Ukrainian cinema has been really interesting, particularly around the subject of this war and the tensions that sort of led to it. So I'm curious how they will balance these different elements of this story.
Yeah. This was also pretty high on my world dramatic ones, and it comes from
Yeah.
some of the people who made Slow, which was a sleeper hit for us from
You love that
Sundance
one,
a couple of years back. That one was really good. Great name as well. How to divorce during the war.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the better titles in the festival. I have another pick here that has also got a pretty great title.
Sorry.
Are you
2 tickets, please?
are you curious about I Want Your Sex?
Of course I'm curious. Do I know how
How
it's
could
going to
you
play
not
out? No, I don't know.
So this is about a young man who lands a job for a provocateur artist. The young man is played by Cooper Hoffman, and the provocateur is none other than Olivia Wilde. In the cast, you also have Mason Gooding, Chase Sweet Wonders, Daveed Diggs, Charlie XCX, Johnny Knoxville, Margaret Cho again. But the thing that's really attracting me to this project, it is the new film from director Greg Araki, a person who is known to make films on, touchy subjects and that explore sexuality in interesting ways. He's a filmmaker who is unafraid of edgy material in movies like Mysterious Skin, The Doom Generation. I'm curious also because this is his first feature film since 2014's White Bird in a Blizzard. So what this material is that would bring him back. So I'm very curious about I Want Your Sex for lots of reasons, title included.
I think this is it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I had to still fit it into my top 10 because it's going to be one of the hottest tickets to get because it's only going to be in person. Like you were mentioning, Greg Araki's a very interesting fellow. I think some of his taglines for his movies is the new gay film, the new queer film from Greg Araki. And if you've seen his movies, he doesn't shy away from it. And he does have his roots in Sundance as well. So this is going to be one to keep your eyes out for.
100%.
I Want Your Sex.
The last film on my list of most anticipated movies out of Sundance.
Just pure intercourse with this man.
True. Maybe I'm just in a horny phase or something like that, man. This might be the movie I'm looking forward to the most at Sundance just because I know I'm going to have a really great time. This one is called Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex List. This is a pairing between David Wayne, an absolutely hilarious director, and Ken Marino, who is hilarious on screen, is the co-writer here. These are some of the minds behind films behind films like Wet Hot American Summer, They Came Together, Role Models, just absolute comedy legends. And this is a story about a couple who have a celebrity sex hall pass agreement, which the man uses, and then it's up to Zoe Dutch as Gail Daughtry to try and even the score with a trip to Hollywood. You have Zoe Dutch, as we mentioned in the cast, John Hamm, John Slattery, a sort of mini Mad Men reunion, Richard Kind. I have my suspicions that John Hamm is the sort of celebrity who will be part of
He's playing himself?
Yeah, which could be hilarious. I think John Hamm is very funny in comedies, so I don't know. We see a lot of films that are depressing and dour or leave you kind of shaken or make you think about the ills of the world. And sometimes it's nice to go to a festival and laugh. And I expect to do that to Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass.
Beautiful. Two that you had right there, which was Gail Daughtry and, of course, the documentary, were in my top 5. So I'll mix it up a bit and give you all a fresh top 5 over here as well. And starting from the bottom, leading up, I'm going to go with Z, dude.
From the next section.
One of my first festivals that I went to, I absolutely fell in love with Kogonada's first film, Columbus, and it was one of the ones that I came out reeling about, and it got a lot of people really excited, and to me is one of those movies that makes you go, yo, I want to go to a film festival and watch movies like this in its premiere with other people who are vibing with movies like this. Our man made the jump. I finally finished a big, beautiful journey. Big, bold, beautiful journey. You know, you need to make your cash too. I understand a sponsorship. That's fine. I don't care. But he's back in the category that he should be in. I saw you questioning whether this was going to be a good thing or not, only to find out that the next category is his home. And we always talk about the next category. It's either going to be something interesting or something super wild, or you're just going to go, hey, next movie, please. He always gets it right. Columbus, After Yang. Z is his newest one, and I'm very curious to see how it plays out. It is going to be online, so that's a beautiful part as well. And he's also bringing back our girl, Haley Lou Richardson. So definitely give this one a watch.
As well as Jin Ha, who is a fantastic actor that we've seen in a lot of projects, including like the Alex Garland show Devs. He's really good in. He's really good in Pachinko, another show that I really love. Very good actor. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You bring up Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey when talking about Kogonada. Kogonada is almost a filmmaker that maybe is better working against mainstream type of structures, right? Like when he is more out there, when he makes challenging films, that's some of the most compelling stuff we've seen from him. So maybe the fact that he's in the next category should be a sign of optimism.
Returning home. The next one that I have is a film that we actually saw as a short a couple of years back. I want to say it was the first year returning to Sundance as a whole. Ooh. Liz Sargent had made a film called Take Me Home. Loved it. One of our favorite shorts of that year. Zach, I don't waste people's time when I tell you I'm checking out the shorts and getting the best. It is now a feature film in the U.S. dramatic competition. I thought the short was perfect, so I'm very curious to see how they're going to elongate this into a feature film. It is a story of a sister who is trying to take care of her own sister who has a disability, but is dealing with the rights in adopting her and being able to be her caretaker because she's well past that age. But of course, she can't take care of her own. I thought the performances in the short were really good, and it seems like they're bringing back the same actors. I think they're related as well, the director and the lead. So I'm ecstatic for this one. One of my favorite shorts being turned into a feature. Very, very much looking forward to this one. And it will be online for those of you who may want to catch it at home. Take Me Home.
Very cool. Yeah, it's got a really intriguing premise. The story of a developmentally disabled person, I believe, who is taking care of their aging parents, and sort of that balance that they have to navigate, and how it gets interrupted during a heat wave. I mean, it sounds like a really fraught scenario that could be really, really interesting to watch.
I'll have to look it up, but if the short's out there, I'd definitely say give it a watch. Give you a good indicator of what the movie's going to be about.
Cool.
My next one, though. Zach, I usually never do this, but I am recommending a movie that intrigues me so much because this director has only done one movie and I hated it. And yet, it was so effective, I have to put Josephine on this list. This director's name, Beth Darajo, she made this movie at South by, I think the year right before you guys started coming, called Soft and Quiet. That's a oneer that follows a bunch of Nazi women.
Oh, I think you remember you telling me this one. Yeah.
I hate this movie. I am so curious to see what this next one is, though. There is just something about her where it was still effective. You know me. I can still see the talent there, and now she's got a cast with her, dude. You got, what's his name? Why am I blinking on his name?
Channing Tatum and Gemma Chan as well.
Gemma Chan. She's in the U.S. dramatic competition. It's going to be online for people to catch. I am very curious to see how she's going to play with the tones the way she was able to for the last one. I know this one takes place, the setting is Golden Gate Park, and something has happened, some sort of crime. And I think it's whether or not they're believing the little girl who witnessed it or not, named Josephine. And again, having seen her past film, she's like The Hunt, talking about subject matter that's really kind of taboo, very controversial, and just doubles down on it. So I can only imagine what she's going to do with this. It is one of the most exciting premises, I feel, that's going to be coming out of the U.S. dramatic category. So I'm putting Josephine up in my top.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a film where it might be the kind of premise that gets people really engaged, gets really people talking. It's a little vague from its premise, so we don't know yet. But the fact that it is among the 10 films selected for U.S. Dramatic makes me hopeful that she's really knocked it out with this one.
Yep. And then for my top 2 over here, wrapping up my 5, I got The Gallerist from Kathy Ann. I know a lot of people know her from Birds of Prey, which I'm a defender of, but she also did Dead Pigs, which was a Sundance premiere. And look, I have to go for this one. Because, dude, it's the girl Nat. I will always put my money on Natalie Portman. This is a premiere. So sadly, this psychological Natalie Portman and psychological thriller, come on, it's only going to be available in person, but that's how you know it's going to be one of the bangers. A lot of these movies also, I don't know if you've been noticing this, Zach, they're not wasting our time here. We're talking 90 minutes on a lot of these, and I'm very curious. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what this is going to be about. I guess it's some conspiracy or psychological stuff happening in an art gallery, and you have a stacked cast. I don't need to say anything more. This is a day one for me, for sure.
Yeah, just the way that her and Jenna Ortega are kind of like peering around that corner in that photo. Yeah, I think their hijinks abound, so I'm excited for that one. That's going to be a fun time, I hope.
And then I'll wrap it up here. Obviously, I had the documentary, just as Zach did, History of Concrete, that you all should definitely check out, and go check out How to with John Wilson. But Frank and Lewis. Frank and Lewis seems like it's going to be the narrative of the year. I'm looking at this and the cast, and I'm going... nominations already. Sometimes you ask me when we're in the middle of the festival, what do you think can make it all the way till next year? And I told you one that got shortlisted. Zach, we haven't even seen any of these. I am putting it down already. Frank and Lewis is about 2 inmates. One of them has dementia. It'd be Rob Morgan's character. And they try to like bond together, but this is coming from a director who had just recently done another Oscar shortlisted film. Her name is Petra Volpe, and she did this film called Late Shift. For all you Pit heads out there, if you love The Pit, go give this one a watch. Not only does it have one of our favorite actresses who has been nominated for the Teacher's Lounge, did good work in September 5th. Here she's playing a doctor, and the whole thing is meticulous. This is some of the best directing and just what it feels like. A very procedural, I guess you would call it, what would you call The Pit?
It's procedural.
Drama?
It's
procedural.
Yeah.
She gets into very finite and minute detail. I can only imagine how she's going to do that over here with 2 of the best actors that we got working over here in the States as well. Or I guess Ben Kingsley's from the UK. But I feel that this is going to have acting, top-notch acting that's going to make it all the way. I feel the script is going to be strong. This is going to be the one that's going to pull at our heartstrings. And I'm going all in with Frank and Lewis. Again, awesome. 95 minutes, bro. And this is going to be a premiere as well. So keep your eyes out for this one.
Yeah, don't think you can go wrong with those picks. A couple of them, as you mentioned, are online. It's going to be an exciting film festival. We always have a good time at Sundance, but I'm really hopeful about those ones we've chosen. And we've got a whole lot more that we'll get into in just a little bit. But first, make sure you're subscribed to the Intercut podcast, either the video podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/intercutpod, or the audio podcast available on most podcatchers like Spotify and Pocket Casts. You can also follow Intercut on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We are at IntercutPod. That's at IntercutPod, and that is short for podcast. You can also support the show for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/intercutpod and signing up to join the Intercuties, or by hitting the join button below this video on our page to become a Intercut member. You can use the code INTERCUTIE on Patreon to get 50% off your first month now through the start of Sundance. And becoming an Intercutie member gets you early access to episodes like this one, the ability to help us decide future episodes of the show, and an invitation to our monthly Intercutie video chats. Also, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, because if we get to 255-star reviews, maybe we'll rent out the Egyptian Theater in Park City and put our names on the marquee. Take that, Utah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I will appreciate the 5 stars. We try to fit it in there once they're cleaning.
Yeah, exactly. There's nobody there at 3 a.m. We could do it.
They're not going to know.
Yeah, the whole city's asleep. Anyway, we already took you through our top 5 most anticipated of the festivals, my top 5 as well as Art's top 5. We're going to break things down a little bit further by category and highlight some of the movies that are most exciting to us. And to make things easier for all of y'all, we are breaking down the categories that are online first, and then the categories that are only in person next. So some categories, like the competition categories, U.S. Dramatic, World Dramatic, U.S. Doc, those are entirely online.
Yep.
A couple other categories are mostly in person. The premieres category is largely in person. Midnight, save for 2 movies, is in person. Next is online. The episodic ones, only in person for some reason. I feel like those episodics could probably do a little bit more by being online. So, well, I don't know, maybe
they're not even giving you the whole thing, right? They're giving you an episode.
Right.
But I guess the easy breakdown that we always say, and you can add to it, but to keep it short, if you go to the website, you'll be able to see what's in person. You'll be able to see what's online. When you're looking at the schedule, they kind of do this right here where you can see which are ticketed events at a theater and then what are the ones that are going to premiere online January 29th. That's what people forget. Yeah. The festival is 2 weeks. First week is completely in person so that all the reviews come out. And then the second week is when the press and the public are able to screen all of the stuff online with whatever windows that they have. They have some really interesting packages this year. One of the ones that I wanted to mention is that you can get a shorts package so that you can watch all of the shorts whenever you want, whatever time, but they add a digital ticket. It ends up bringing the digital ticket down to like, I think, $10 or $15. So that is something, if you wanted to check it out, where you do get like an extra ticket for a lot cheaper. And you also get all the shorts, which, as I've said, may end up being a feature a couple years from now. So keep an eye out for those. But any other questions, like we've said, definitely DM us, let us know. But we're here to give you the top picks. All online. This is for everybody. Zach, 5 years of online, and I am so thankful. Like, I am beyond thankful. If we had this when we first started, we probably would have been accredited faster. People, I promise you, as steep as a ticket may seem, you are saving so much on lodging, traveling, the cold, socks, sunglasses, all that stuff, to watch Sundance movies in the comfort of your own home. Zach, Whiplash would have been an online selection back in the day.
Yeah, not to mention just Whiplash. The U.S. Dramatic category has films like A Real Pain, Dee Dee, Sorry to Bother You, Oscar Best Picture winner Coda. Last year, this category had Sorry Baby. You could have caught all those films online months before they were available to the public.
And now you're going to have them here. So let's begin it. Out of all of these right here, anyone that you want to take the lead with right here?
Ooh, I mean, we probably should talk about all of these at least a little bit. And we already mentioned Run Amok in my most anticipated, Take Me Home in your most anticipated. Another one that I was seriously considering for my most anticipated was Ha Chan Shake Your Booty.
There's something about this.
Yeah, man. This is a movie about people who compete in Tokyo's ballroom dance scene, and one of them developing an infatuation with her new instructor. It's also directed by a guy named Joseph Kubota Vladecha, who I've sort of been following his career for a little bit. He had a really interesting film called Manos Sucias in Tribeca like a decade ago. Catch the Fair one.
Yeah.
If you may remember, that one was a Sundance movie from a couple years back.
Yeah, because it's Callie's first movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Big movie, yeah.
With Callie Rice, who was later in True Detective. So he's just been a director that has been bubbling up. I got a chance to interview him once, and he's a really interesting guy. I'm wondering if this is kind of going to be the movie that is his breakthrough to a wider audience. It's got a fun title, got an interesting premise. It stars Rinko Kikuchi, who you might remember from Babel, amongst other really amazing films. I got hopes on this one right here.
Yeah, there was something about this. I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, this is in Tokyo. I remember people giving so much schmack for Minari because it was in a different language, but at least it was in the U.S. So I'm curious how they're going to make this a U.S.-based movie. But it's very little that we know now.
Right.
But then I see the date. This is a premiere Eccles opening night primetime movie. Exactly. There's a lot riding on this one right here. So also, I'm not going to let it pass, bro. Clean pronunciation on the name right there, dude.
Yeah, it helps to have the Polish family, man. Vladecha.
Oh, yeah, you interviewed him, so I was like, y'all best friends right there. That just rolled off the tongue. Ha Chan Shake Your Booty. Probably gonna be a surprise one coming out of the fest for sure.
Yeah. Any other U.S. dramatics that are appealing to you?
Let's talk about this one right here called Carousel, because sometimes we get movies that seem way too big, and you're looking at this, you're like, all right, this looks pretty fine. Look, Carousel, it looks like a nice independent film starring Chris Pine. I'm always a little iffy sometimes. I know I have Channing Tatum in one of my picks, but Chris Pine, Jenny Slate, It seems like it could be a very interesting movie about like a small town. I think it's, what is it, Cleveland, where these two come together. I don't think it's going to be a Columbus type movie, but I think that they're both very charismatic actors, and they might have some good back and forth with each other. So it could be online. Not bad to think about. But my main
100%.
reason why this one stands out is because she, the director, worked on Sometimes I Think About Dying. And
One
that
of my
was a very
favorites.
special movie that we liked. So I'm hoping that it's not going to come out like what you and I sometimes say, a Tribeca movie, interesting movie that's going straight to streaming. I hope this is something more like what she did with Sometimes I Think About Dying, which had a very interesting tone. And I'd love to see these two actors in that style. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that was Carousel is another one that I was really intrigued by, not just because Rachel Lambert's attached, but I think sometimes these movies that have plots that are not easily synopsized are more nuanced and have a lot underneath the surface. So this is ostensibly about a doctor whose life is upended when his daughter forces him to confront his own choices. Could mean a million things. So whatever that ultimately really is about, I'm very curious to see.
yeah. What's your next one?
I'm curious also about Bedford Park, which is the debut film from Stephanie Ahn. It's a movie about a Korean-American woman who is struggling with her family's expectations and an ex-wrestler haunted by her past who come across each other and have a transformative journey. Again, another sort of vague premise, like reminds me of movies like Columbus, where two people from different paths have some kind of connection that changes their lives. I'm hopeful it can be something like that. I don't particularly recognize any of the names in the cast. It looks like a lot of either Korean or Korean American actors, but hopefully it's the kind of film that is a bit of a revelation.
We'll see. I believe it's based off her short Accident, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But I always like when we have brand new voices. I like clicking on the director and seeing this right here.
Yeah.
I want to just go in knowing very little. So another good one to keep an eye on right there. I'm going to continue it with The Friend's House is Here. This is another
Really
one
cool
coming
premise.
out of the U.S. Dramatic. Speak on the premise if you can.
Yeah, so this is about a pair of women who start an underground art scene in Tehran that gets exposed, putting them both in some sort of peril. It seems really intriguing for sure.
And again, another one where it's not U.S. based. So I'm really curious with what they're doing here.
Exactly.
I'm for it. We'll see. The next one also to mention from this category is Hot Water, which, to be honest with you, I feel like I should have in my top 5. There is just something about the picture, dude. There's something about the title. There's something about that 97 minutes. It's what? A mom, son, hit the road. We already love Dee Dee.
Yeah, go to
Dee Dee
visit some
on the
hot
road?
springs.
Let's do it, bro. There is something about this movie that I think is just going to have us laughing and then crying and then laughing and then crying, and then those tears are going to freeze as we exit the Yarrow.
Did you see
I'm excited for
who's
this one.
starring in Hot Water? It's Luna Azabal, who is from Ensembles, the main woman from Ensembles, and then Daniel Zogardi, our guy from Funny Pages and 8th grade.
Wait. Okay, we always say this guy's Chicken Nugget Kid. That's why.
Yeah, but he's not Chicken Nugget Kid. He's the other
not Chicken
kid.
Nugget Kid. He's the other kid. He's the bad one. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's great. He was great in Lurker last year, and that's another reason why I have to have him on here. Other than Y2K, we talked about the ads. He had bangers last year when it came to Sundance. 8th grade as well. I'm hoping this is another one, and he's finally taken the lead. So that should be good.
Definitely.
That should be good.
Is the musical on your list?
It was, Zach, you read my mind. The next thing I was clicking. You talked a little bit about it earlier on. There is something about this movie, and I'm going to tell you right now, that makes me feel like it's going to be a hit because the director, it's her feature debut, and all the stuff she's worked on has been with people that we love. Shiva Baby, bro.
Ooh.
The cast looks like it could be really interesting. I think Rob Lowe has it in him, depending on who you have directing him, to do some really funny stuff. This one's about a musical that's going to happen, but the principal himself has to work with the person he hates the most, and so they're having this controversy in order to get this done. Just like you mentioned with Run Amok, one of these is bound to be a hit. If both of them are hits, even better, because we're coming off of it was just a couple years ago where we had The one with Molly Gordon. Theater camp.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the general premise here is Will Brill plays a middle school teacher who finds out Rob Lowe is dating his ex-girlfriend, played by Gillian Jacobs. So he tries to sort of like ruin the principal in different ways, which sounds really fun. It also makes me think a little bit about the Hugh Jackman movie Bad Education and how you can kind of use Rob Lowe in a similar way that they used Hugh Jackman in that movie, where he just like he can clean up really nice and seem super presentable, but maybe you get him messed up by the end of the film. I don't know. I think there's promise for the musical for sure.
I can see that. That sounds fire.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. A lot of these sound very, very fun, which is why I have to go with one. That is not fun at all. Union County. Is the complete opposite side because it's dealing with a what is it? They're recovering.
He's put into a court. Will Poulter plays a man put into court-mandated opiate recovery program.
Hey, what a joy, bro! We'll be waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning to catch this one, but you got Will Poulter in there in the U.S. dramatic competition, and to me, this is a guy who seeks out roles where he can actually put his acting chops, actually put some emotion in there. And again, at 97 minutes, I think it's going to be another impactful one. This may be some of the best acting from this category for sure.
Definitely. And it feels like Will Poulter has sort of been on a several years long journey of reinventing himself and being taken a little bit more seriously. And I wonder if this is, again, another like sort of step on that journey back in towards movie stardom for him.
From We the Millers to this, bro. Beautiful stuff.
Right? It's been a long way.
With it, but, like we had mentioned, Hot Water, Josephine, Take Me Home. You also had, was a Run Amok. Some really good stuff from the U.S. dramatic competition. Let us know your thoughts down below, which ones you will be watching. Because, again, all of these halfway through the fest will be available online.
Definitely.
Let's keep it going with the next category that is also going to be online, and that is World Dramatic. Let the people know why this is a good category. Just because there's subtitles, what do you say? Jump over that 1-inch barrier.
Yeah, listen to Bong Joon-ho. Watch some international films. This is a category that, again, features films from outside the U.S., so sometimes they're even in English. You don't even always have to do the subtitles for them. For example, The Souvenir was a World Dramatic film a couple of years back. Actually, that might have been my very first Sundance. The Second Mother from Brazil, The Guilty. I forget what the film is originally from. Suho, which Sweden, I remember you really liking. Girls Will Be Girls, which Amanda and I had on our list. Scrapper, which was, I think, the prize winner last year, maybe 2 years ago now.
A couple years ago, dude, yeah.
2 years, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of the World Dramatic category as well.
All right. We had talked about a couple already. How to Divorce During the War was one of our picks. I'm going to started off in this category with the second one that really stood out to me as I loaded up over here, because it comes from a director who I really liked out of TIFF a couple years ago. This movie is called Levitating. Very interesting premise. If you're coming off a Testament of Ann Lee, it sounds like this is the new movement over here. They're shaking in a different way. It's a bunch of young people who come together that are probably being duped by a shaman, but he ends up building this community where they like move around to a point where I as the title assumes, they might be levitating. This director though did a movie at TIFF, like I was mentioning, called Androgyny, where a teacher accidentally says a phrase that people mistake as another phrase, and it gets her canceled, and it becomes this massive thing. And because her children are influencers, they try to counteract her getting canceled with something else. Phenomenal stuff. We see so many people try to cover online media or schools and stuff. I thought he had his hand on the trigger here. I am very interested to see what he's going to bring for this one over here called Levitating as well.
Definitely.
That's my first pick.
I was looking at Extra Geography, which again might be cheating because this is a film from the UK, so don't have to deal with subtitles for that one. But it's set in an English girls' boarding school, starring two best friends sort of grappling with the challenges of girlhood. Something about the picture, it seems like it's a fun coming-of-age vibe. I'm always down for a school set coming of age movie, and it looks like there's a couple in this category that are sort of teenager coming of age stories between Extra Geography from the UK and Big Girls Don't Cry from New Zealand.
Yeah. This one also another one where I think it stands out a lot from its posters. The first one, though, that you had mentioned is really interesting because the Extra Geography director did One Day. That was
Yes.
the movie turned into like a mini series for Netflix that people really, really loved. But that movie also has pretty good screenwriters that worked on Succession. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to push that there. Also based off a short. Big Girls Don't Cry, also from New Zealand. I'm very curious because I want to say this is one of her maybe debuts over here. But again, it seems like a lot of the world dramatic has to do with either love or divorcing this year. That seems to be the parallel right now.
Definitely. The other cool thing about that Big Girls Don't Cry film, it's set in 2006, and
Nice.
the premise sets that it's sort of her discovering desire, identity, as well as the internet. So that's always interesting to people like us who grew up with the internet and had our own discovery moments with the internet. It makes me think a little bit about Dee Dee, which chronicled that era so well. I'm excited for both of those movies.
We also have in the world dramatic a movie called Filipiniana. This one will also be online. It follows T-girl Isabel feels strangely drawn to Dr. Palanca, the president of the country club where she works. However, after piecing together a violent picture of what lies beneath the club's pristine surface, she realizes that what began as an innocent infatuation was actually rooted in a sinister shared history. Ooh. This was also a short from a couple of years ago. And this may be one that kind of makes it pretty far because it has a lot of composers a lot of people who worked on Vietnam that didn't make it to the Oscars, but it was an international film from 2 years ago that just was bubbling in the surface. Also a love story that almost made the final five.
Yeah. So many films dealing with teenagers and preteens. Hold On to Me is another one where an 11-year-old girl is trying to reconnect with her estranged father after her grandfather's funeral. This one, I believe, is set in Greece, a Greek film. So Mirsini Aritsdou is the director of it and hasn't directed anything I've seen, but I am curious from the premise of this one.
It'll be interesting. Another one over here from the world dramatic is The Huntress. This is a film coming out of Mexico, like you were saying. We always get a movie in there. Usually we're getting kidnapped, Zach. So this one, I think there's violence before the kidnapping.
Perfect.
But shout out Adriana Paz. She was the one person who I think came out unscathed from Emilia Perez. She would have been the partner of Emilia Perez. Finally getting, some due justice over here as she's seeking justice. But she's the lead of this movie. I think Mexico always tends to send really good films into Sundance. And they, for the most part, end up becoming the ones that they also send for their Oscar submissions. So keep an eye out for this one. The Huntress, La Cazadora, also going to be online.
Yeah, Caitlin has that one high on her list. It sounds
fire,
like
bro.
She always looks for the ones that feel like horror adjacent, and that one probably among the films that are not in the midnight category is the closest we'll get.
When the setting says Juarez, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary.
Should we talk at all about Lady?
Let's wrap some of these up over here.
This one is a co-collaboration between the UK and Nigeria, I believe, taking place in Lagos as a young cab driver meets a band of reckless sex workers and sort of gets pulled into their dangerous sisterhood. Nice. I don't know if this is just like Nigerian Tangerine or something like that, but I feel like, cinematically, sex workers have a really rich history, right? Like there's so many great films about sex workers or set around that world. So I'm curious for a Nigerian take on the material.
And this is also coming from a director who had a short. I don't think it's based off the short that they had at Sundance, but I always like seeing that pipeline. They come in with a short and they build you up to a feature. So that'll be really, really interesting to see. Another good title. If How to Divorce During the War wasn't good, we got a second one over here. Shame and Money.
Nice.
This one's coming from, I want to say Germany. Kosovo. Was that the one that you were talking about? Was it Klondike, the movie you were mentioning? When talking about...
I think so. Maybe. Yeah.
Bringing it back...
This one might be an Albanian film. It's another co-production, but apparently the language is Albanian.
Gotcha. This one, the premise is, after losing their livelihood in a village, a Kosovar family is forced to move to the capital in pursuit of a place in a hyper-capitalistic society. What's interesting is this is the guy who did a movie from, I want to say it was also Sundance, Exile. I don't know if you remember this one. This was our last year right before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Also in the World Dramatic. So this would be them returning with a second feature, which should be a good sign. Should be.
Very interesting. Yeah, always nice to see those people come back to Sundance and see how they continue in their filmmaking journeys.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Zach, how's your Hebrew?
It is not passable. I think I got 3 words.
We're going to learn some new lines with this one. Tell me
There we go.
everything. This one's going to be, I think it's an Israel-France co-production. Again, not only do you got the period piece, it's going to be in the 80s. HIV epidemic, but it's also from a 12-year-old. Like we're gonna have to do a filing here of how many of these are for kids, because the kids section this year seems to not be for kids.
Yeah, this
All
is the
kids
Gen
are
Alpha
growing up.
Sundance or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be real crazy here. But the producers have worked on some really good movies that have also gone pretty far at Sundance, dealing with American Animals, Pig, Atropia as well recently. This is the second feature from Moshe Rosenthal, so I'm kind of curious to see what they're gonna do with this one. A lot of the stills. Hey, the thing about Sundance is that y'all be watching movies all throughout the year with no color. And Sundance brings you not just the color on screen, but actually vividly shot movies that actually look beautiful. And all of these will be available at home.
Definitely.
Looking back at this category, though, I still think I have How to Divorce During the War and Levitating at number 1.
Yeah, and I think for me, the duo of Big Girls Don't Cry and Extra Geography feels like the ones that are attracting my eye. So we'll see which ones ultimately are the ones that get chosen as winners, get remembered, maybe become international submissions for the Oscars. Could be exciting.
Nice.
What category do you want to do next?
Let's pause on the documentaries because we can do those really quick. We're on a run when it comes to features. So let's go to the next category. That contradicts what I'm saying because half of these are documentaries. The first one that we have on here, Zach, you're good with.
Just quickly, so you mentioned Searching was in next. That's probably like the high end of the next category. We've got stuff like Ghost Kitchen in here, Tangerine, which I just mentioned, Skate Kitchen, or did I say Ghost Kitchen? I meant Ghost Story, the David Lowery movie. So you get like challenging experimental films. East of Wall was a one last year that I think a lot of people dug, but this definitely is a big hit or miss category. You already mentioned that the movie you're looking forward to the most from the next category is Z, one of your 5 most anticipated of the fest, directed by Kogonada. What other movies from the next category caught your eye?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with Ghost in the Machine. Let me try to pull this one up as it loads. Just a fascinating look at what I think is going to be. And I'm always up for it because we've had some dealing with AI. We have several dealing with AI. This, let me actually show it to you guys. Visuals. We have a lot dealing with AI this year, but we also have had a lot in the next category where it is a blend of it being a documentary, but it also being a narrative. So I'm very curious where this one goes, considering it's a director who's returning to the festival, and how it's going to compare to the other big premiere about artificial intelligence. So this will probably
which
be
we'll get to,
my second up. Looks interesting.
Nice. I was curious about The Incomer. This is, if we're going to stick with this idea of children, this is about a pair of siblings on a remote Scottish island who talk to mythical beasts and fight off outsiders. But their lives change when an awkward official arrives to relocate them. And I believe the awkward official is none other than my guy, Donald Gleason, who we can see from the poster there.
Okay.
I've been missing Donald on screen. I think he's a good actor.
Dude, the Skarsgårds are moving up on them, bro. I need his brother to get in on this at this point.
The Gleason's got to get back into the fight.
Let's go, dude. I'm going to follow this one up with a movie that comes from a director that we saw back in, I think, our first year, the whole group together, Burn.
Oh,
this
man.
Director, you know, BBC did a movie called We Are Little Zombies. I think the first group collective screener that we saw together, bonkers movie, really enjoyable. And now they're returning over here with Burn about runaway misfit teens. So keeping at it. Also looks really cool.
Yeah. I feel like we can at least rely on that movie to have good visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the visuals will be like. The title in itself intrigued me. Okay, I'm going to go out on a ledge here and try and pronounce it. Ani Kubijijan, which is ancestor, great-grandparent, great-grandchild. This is a film about ancestors trapped inside of a museum archive, bending time and space to try and find their way home. Absolutely no idea what to expect from this one. It is made by Adam and Zach Khalil, who are members of the Ojibwe tribe outside of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Could be interesting. I don't know.
They had this other bit as we were searching them up. Zach, these two are a part of New Red Order.
Really?
The Public Secret Society.
Okay.
I don't know anything about them, but I just read I am the co-founder of a public secret society, and I have a movie coming out of Sundance. So we will definitely, if somebody needed to be in the next category, it's these boys right here for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Another one is an experimental drama coming out of the next category called If I Go, Will They Miss Me? Another one that comes from a short. The short, as I pull it up over here, was of the same name, but this guy has also done Shooting Guards, which I found really interesting because If I Go, Will They Miss Me? The short is very artistic. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they make it into a feature film. And Shooting Guards was just a bonkers story that came out of the part of the Netflix Untold series. It's like their ESPN 30 for 30s about, was it arenas?
Gilbert Arenas.
Each other in the locker room. I thought the short was really interesting. So again, this is one of those where I'm very curious to see how they're going to be able to bring it into a full feature film because it's very poetic. It's very melodic. So it'll be an interesting one to catch.
Yeah. A lot of interesting films among the selection, and it is such a hit or miss category. The They Dream was one that stood out to me, which is about a director and his mother sort of documenting their Puerto Rican family over a course of 20 years. A lot of these films, I feel like you get films that are like personal journeys and experimentally told diaries in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this one looks like there's some animation here.
Yeah,
or
I think it's supposed to be like a hybrid movie. I think it's supposed to be an animated doc specifically. So I have not caught the writer's last film. This is in my hidden gems that I've yet to catch from last year. Also following, you can guess it, Zach, a young girl trying to make it. I think in New York. But no, They Dream, as I skim through the pictures over here, should be really interesting. Last year we had one called, was it Cookie or Good Cookie, Good Fortune, something like that?
Endless Cookie.
Endless Cookie, thank you. Another one that made it through a lot of shortlists as a animated documentary from Sundance.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little shout out to... Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's this movie called Jaripeo. I'm really curious on this one.
I was just looking at that one.
Look, I like the world dramatic one that Mexico's bringing us in here. But I also... I want some artsy stuff too, bro. I don't want it to just be, turmoil. A little bit of turmoil here because it's about, these are pretty much like cowboys and what it's like to have that masculinity tested in you. So this feels like it's very much going to be a little bit of a biopic, documentary narrative. And it started reminding me a lot of one of Alina's favorite movies from Sundance, I Carry You With Me.
Ooh.
Very similar themes. And that was one that really stood out to her. So I'm curious for this one because it looks like it's going to be shot incredibly well.
Nice. Rounding out the category, there is If I Go, Will They Miss Me?, which is about a 12-year-old struggling to connect with his father, who begins to see spectral visions of boys driving around his neighborhood. This is a film that also stars Danielle Brooks, who some people might recognize. Seems like the story of like a young boy in America growing up, and just experiencing like the troubles of their community around them. Could be pretty intriguing, could be pretty experimental. I think I'm a little bit more intrigued by Night Nurse, which is a film about a nurse who becomes entangled with her mysterious patient after receiving a perverse series of scam phone calls.
Okay. This one might be messed up because the director of this worked on a movie I hated.
Oh,
in
yeah?
Chicago called All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. Disgusting movie, bro. Absolutely atrocious movie.
I mean, look, they're telling you the scam calls are perverse, so
The fact that this can't even be put in the midnight category, but in the next category, that's scary. So we'll have to check that out there. But yeah, that is this category right here. I think we covered everything. Did we mention Incomer?
Yeah, that's the Domhnall Gleeson one.
Gotcha. Okay. And then going back to If I Go, They Will Miss Me. That's the one that I said was based off a short. But the cinematographer did Daughters. So
Ooh.
I'm very curious.
Very
Again,
cool. Very cool.
To see how that plays out. Definitely catch the short for that one. Yeah. But that would be the next category. Again, another one that for the most part you said it's all going to be on there, right?
They're all going to be online. They usually put the next online.
You got the U.S. Dramatic online, the Next online, World online. Before we get into the documentaries, let's get really quick into the episodics because there's some big names in this category, even though they're not giving us full features. Mm-hmm. Which one stood out to you? Because I think we don't got to do the pilots, but I definitely want to mention the ones from The Boys.
Well, which one did you want to start with? Because the one that jumped out to me was Bait. But we got to talk about Screener as well.
Yeah, Bait. Riz Ahmed is back. The problem with Riz is that I keep looking through his IMDb, and he's got a bunch of little things that no one has access to. And he's making this one hard to get access to as well. Usually the episodics are online, so should we even be covering these here? I don't know if they're going to be online or not.
Let me see. Not online, actually.
Well, then we'll cover these quick right here.
Yeah.
This one's about a struggling actor trying to make it through. They are screening just the first 2 episodes, I think, and it's only going to be in person. But when you got Riz Ahmed on the call, how could you not jump on there?
Yeah.
But the funny one, bro, is one actually called a screener.
We can relate. This is a new one from the guy Jim Cummings, who, if you want to pull up the tab, who is kind of a veteran of the film festivals.
Yeah. This man has been around for a while. He has done several movies that I'm sure a lot of people have seen. And he definitely feels, there he is right there in the middle, like someone who could take this and make a movie version of what the studio has covered, what it's like to have the ins and outs of what the publicity feels like. I'm very curious because I am a person who has a lot of thoughts when it comes to being noted and screeners and links, especially when stuff is about to come out on VOD, when stuff is going to be on streaming. And then they wonder, as I always say, they think they're going to end up on Mubi, they end up on Tubi. But we'll see what this man has up his sleeve. Because the last one was what? Beta test?
Unless you want to give him credit for that one that was set in a diner, but I think he was just the star and producer on that one.
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty good too.
Yeah,
and then going back to show you the picture of Bait, that's going to be the Riz Ahmed one. So we've got 2 episodics here in the Riz Ahmed Bait and Screener. We'll let y'all know which one's worth it. And if you catch it in person, just a reminder, you're only getting... It's thrilled to premiere the first 3 chapters of this 5-episode limited series. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. But last year, what was the big episodic one?
Hal and Harper from the boy Cooper Raiff. So
you can't sleep on it, you know?
Yeah, Sundance occasionally is getting interesting stuff. And there aren't a lot of like TV festivals out there, but sometimes interesting TV makes its way to the film festivals.
That's it. All right, I load up the links for the documentaries. Yeah, we'll go through these really quick over here, but let the people know what the standards are for the U.S. dramatic competition.
Well, in previous years that we've gone to the festival, we've seen films like American Factory, Boy State, Navalny, Fire of Love, Daughters, Oscar winners like Summer of Soul, lots of shortlisted movies premiere here. In fact, there have been years where we've gone to Sundance and seen all 5 movies that eventually go on to get Oscar nominations. So if you are somebody who loves yourself an Oscar-nominated documentary, you can catch them months earlier if you're watching at Sundance.
So I got to start off with one that just intrigued me completely, bro. It is called Public Access, and you got the Safdies as producers.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm in, dude.
Yeah, it's a deep dive into New York's underground public access channels. I mean, think anything that deals with that kind of media, its influence, the sort of like subversive nature of it, it's going to appeal to guys like us.
Yeah, there was one, just a couple years ago about remember there was that one guy, he kind of like invented the Nam? Pak Nam?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nam June Pak, everything is TV, something like that.
Thank you. And that was another cool way of like, before the invention of the internet and YouTube and all that stuff, how were people getting their thoughts out there? And public access seems to be like a really interesting archive of a lot of the stuff pre the internet, the reason why you guys are listening to us right now. This would have had to have been the route we would have gone.
Non-June Pike Moon is the oldest TV, by the way. And you were right earlier.
That's
Klondike was the Ukrainian movie. I was struggling to remember.
Come on, bro. I got you.
Yeah.
What else stands out for you in the U.S. doc section?
Oh, it's a really exciting category. I think the tagline that jumped out to me the most was for Joy Bubbles. Joy Bubbles discovers he can manipulate the telephone system by whistling a magic tone. This is a movie apparently about a guy who would go on to lay the groundwork for a lot of hacking technology in the future.
Okay.
But I'm just have no idea what that could be about.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I always like when a documentary touts their cinematographer. Mm-hmm. Because that's when you know it's going to be good. They did Miseducation of Cameron Post. So I looking at this black and white imagery right here. Please serve me up something good.
100%.
The next one that I'm going to shout out right here is Soul Patrol.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the full picture of it over here. You can talk about it.
Yeah, so this is a story about the first American black special operatives unit telling their stories from Vietnam, and I know you're intrigued because it's got a familiar director to us.
It's my dude who just a couple of years ago, right? Let me see it. 2 years ago, he did this one over here called As We Speak, Rap Music on Trial, that goes through the history of rap music. So the history of this is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm very excited on that one.
Shout out J.M. Harper. Yeah, there are a lot of really intriguing documentaries. They always try to highlight films that are set in or around Utah for the Sundance Film Festival. I wonder if that's going to be more of a Colorado focus going forward. But this year, there's a film called The Lake that follows two scientists and a politician working to avoid a nuclear crisis in Utah. That one intrigued me for sure.
It's fascinating. And it's not a narrative.
Exactly, yeah. Unfortunately, it seems like it's real life.
Yeah, that one should be good. Also, Jimmy Chin's the EP on this one. That's why it got my attention.
Yeah, Jimmy Chin
boy,
from Free Solo. Yeah, exactly.
Not Naiad, but you know, a lot of other good stuff.
Yeah. Although I think the movie that has my favorite title in the U.S. documentary category is Nuisance Bear, which is about a polar bear forced to navigate human life when its traditional migration path becomes interrupted by man-made expansion. Always down for a good nature documentary, and particularly I think this seems like one that's sort of talking about the way that we've commercialized aspects of nature and are not prioritizing the climate and our animal friends in human endeavors.
Yeah, and also this one, they had a short, so it's another one of those where it's picking up and getting a full feature from Sundance as well. So that's
definitely,
cool.
Yeah.
Another
what
one
else
over
stood out
here
to you?
is Seized.
Yeah.
This is one where they take over this guy's place and it becomes an abuse of power and what they've taken from him. It takes place in Kansas.
Yeah.
Look, this is the festival that gave us Riotsville. They didn't give us Cover Up. I think that came out a little bit later. But when you have these journalistic ones, what was the one? Bad Press from a couple of years ago as well. They always tend to have some really good journalistic docs as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And that I remember that story developing. It was like there was a police raid on a facility, and then the 98-year-old co-owner of the facility died during the police raid. So it brought a lot of questions to the forefront. I'm sure it's going to be a really interesting documentary.
Damn.
Yeah.
Moving on to another one with an insane name. Who Killed Alex Oda?
Yeah.
They're going to break it down in 84 minutes.
Yeah, it's an investigation into the death of a Palestinian-American activist, which uncovers questions about the nature of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Obviously, a very relevant issue right now, and we see all sorts of issues with the persecution of activists and protesters and speakers. So I'm sure this film will feel just as relevant now as it will many years into the future. That's really interesting. And it's not the only documentary in this category that touches on issues of the conflict in Palestine. American Doctor is another one, which highlights the story of 3 doctors in Gaza struggling to navigate the risks of practicing medicine during the ongoing war.
Nice. And then we also have some good biopics coming out, if you want to call them that, but documentaries profiling
Biodocs?
People like Luis Valdez for American Pachuco. If you've seen Zoot Suit or La Bamba, this is the man who inspired a lot of that stuff right there, as well as Barbara Forever.
100%, yeah, which is a profile of the pioneering lesbian experimental filmmaker Barbara Hammer. So those ones are pretty intriguing. I'm probably a little more intrigued by American Pachuco because that one also comes from director David Alvarado, who's made really interesting documentaries in the past, like The Immortalists. I don't know if you remember, we talked about We Are As Gods a bit on the podcast.
Yeah, it's the one I got highlighted. This one's fire, dude. I love this documentary. This one's good.
So yeah, Alvarado is back with another film.
Beautiful. But that is the documentary section for U.S. dramatic, or U.S. documentary, I should say.
Yep.
Let's wrap up the finishing touches on the online category, the last section that y'all can watch. We'll also get into shorts later. We'll probably do some live streams when we're over at Utah. But wrapping up the world dramatic, I'm going to start from these 3 right here. We'll take it in that order since my computer's
and just
can't handle it.
Put it in here. This is a category that featured 2,000 Meters to Andrivka, which a lot of people think is going to win the Oscar this year. It also featured that filmmaker's last movie, 20 Days in Mariupol, which did win the Oscar. Movies like The Remarkable Life of Ebeline, movies like Flea, movies like Honeyland. A fair share of Oscar-winning and Oscar-nominated documentaries take place or premiere in the world dramatic category or the world documentary category here at Sundance.
I'm curious in this one, right there in the middle, called Birds of War.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of a movie I really liked from a couple years ago called Whirlybird, about 2 journalists and how they came together and almost become like night crawlers when they get a helicopter. This would be 2 journalists overseas. It's their love story, everything that they went through. But the wife of the creator of T-Series is behind this.
Okay.
Do you know T-Series?
Not really.
Who beat PewDiePie?
Oh.
On YouTube?
That T-Series?
T-Series. The wife. I thought that was crazy until I start reading that her husband now owns T-Series because the person who actually created it had passed away. Let me get back to the movie. Birds of War. Has to do with a lot of journalistic stuff that happened overseas and 2 people who fell in love. And it's just really interesting how they're going to bring that to fruition. It is also one of the early documentaries that they're playing at the festival. So I have big hopes for this one.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that intrigued me as well. They apparently are sort of telling this love story through archived material. And I just love a documentary that pieces together a story through the archives. So that one is definitely intriguing to me. One that jumped out to me is Everybody to Kenmure Street. This is a movie from Scotland, and it's a film about neighbors and activists rushing to stop an anti-immigration van carrying away 2 residents. This one feels particularly relevant given all the issues we have with ICE in this country. I think we are seeing a lot of similar things happen where it really is taking like on the ground activism to get in the way of these forces, disrupting communities. It feels like a film that's going to feel really relevant, even if it is about a community in Scotland. It'll feel, universal in some aspects. So really intrigued to see what Everybody to Kenmure Street's going to be.
We also have All About the Money, about a guy who decides in Massachusetts to build a like a communist, like a commune, pretty much. And it's interesting because it's an Irish movie, but it takes place in America. So again, we're getting a lot of swaps with this being in the world.
Exactly, you were talking about those U.S. dramatic films that take place in Iran or in Japan, and this is a world documentary that takes place in Massachusetts. They tend to do that based on the production companies, but it is sort of interesting, that kind of international flavor you get.
Yeah. There's also this Polish doc called Closure, and what was interesting about this one is that the directors worked a lot with your boys from Radiohead. So I'm very curious to see what the approach is going to be here. I don't know too much about it though, but
yeah, it sounds like a father looking for his missing son, sort of trying to decide whether he's just missing or if he actually is dead. So
delightful,
definitely an uplifting one.
Going through some of the other ones over here, you can see they have Hanging by Wire, which is it seems like it's going to be a very action-packed looking one. It kind of reminds me of the one with the couple who would get on top of buildings that ended up going to Netflix a couple years back, and they wanted to also arrive to the premiere on top of the Egyptian or something like that.
Right.
No, we're not clearing that.
To me, it makes me think a little bit about the Rescue, speaking of Jimmy Chin documentaries, because this is about a group of school children who are in a cable car that when the wires snap, they end up just sort of hanging there. So it's a similar situation of like, how are we going to rescue this group of kids from a fraught situation?
Yeah. Out of all of these, this is the only one that was pitched as a doc thriller. So take that as you will. Wrapping it up with the last four over here, we have One in a Million that comes from the UK. That's supposed to be filmed over 10 years, covering a refugee experience.
Yeah, one girl's epic journey from Syria to Germany and back again.
This one over here, Australia is always up to some crazy stuff. Sentient. About the story of a primatologist looking to see, I don't think anything's ever going to beat Gunda for you and I.
Yeah.
That's like the star. But we've also had Cow. We've had a lot of other ones where, even from Sundance, the one about the butterflies from last year or 2 years ago, where they're really kind of just advocating for animals, not just as a way to help humans, but also a way to help the animals and their ecosystems as well. So this will be interesting because it's about testing.
Yeah, and respecting animals' autonomy in some way, as you mentioned. Yeah, this is a investigation into laboratory research on animals. So, it might not be for the faint of heart, but probably will be a really important piece.
We've also got one about the Me Too movement coming from Australia called Silence, and we also have To Hold a Mountain coming from Serbia, taking place in Montenegro, following a couple of shepherds.
Yeah, so Silenced is more so about this lawyer who's trying to fight the weaponization of defamation laws to silence survivors, basically people who sue their victims to get them to stop talking about them because of defamation. Whereas
What's the one from last year? Or 2 years ago? You know what I'm talking about, where she decided to do her
Black
own
Box
lawsuit.
Diaries?
Black Box Diaries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it feels like a sister film for that one. And then To Hold a Mountain actually reminded me a little bit of Honeyland, because this is a Montenegro set film where the mother and daughter are trying to defend their ancestral mountain from becoming a NATO military training ground.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some surprise hits in the world documentary category.
I think so too, but there, that is, let's break it down. U.S. Dramatic. World Dramatic, U.S. and World
Next.
Doc, and your next category with some episodic, all in 1 hour. That is everything that is going to be available for you at home.
Actually, if I may, there are 3 more movies or 5 more movies we didn't mention that are going to be available online. So we got 3 movies in the premiere category. 2 of them are docs. One of them is called Jane Elliott Against the World. After the sort of like George Floyd moment happened, and there were a lot of protests and a lot of dialogue about racial progress and teaching aspects of anti-racism. A lot of people shared this clip from Jane Elliott, who in the 70s went into a classroom and ran an exercise asking people to sort of discriminate based on eye color rather than skin color and how that affected the students. A really, really interesting clip. This is a documentary about her and about those exercises. So sort of looking at her work in combating racism. Sounds really, really intriguing to me. So that's one of the documentaries. The other documentary available online from the premiere section is called Time and Water, which is the new film from the director of Fire of Love, another excellent Sundance documentary. This one sounds kind of like a poetic personal ode to an Icelandic writer's grandparents and sort of the land in Iceland. We know that she can make a really kind of spiritual feeling, meditative documentary. I feel like this will probably be along those lines. But the premiere film I'm most excited to see online is the new Josephine Decker movie, Chasing Summer. This is a film about a woman who retreats to her Texas hometown and has her life upended after she loses her job and her boyfriend. Josephine Decker, you may remember, is the woman who made Shirley as well as Madeline's Madeline. Very good filmmaker, if you ask me. So I'm very excited to see this film, not just for that premise, but because that photo is featuring a girl holding a Buc-ee's cup. Actually, that girl is Eliza Schlesinger, if you have seen any of her stuff. Very funny. So it'll be interesting to see if she can navigate her own film.
Also, really interesting that this is the only premiere. That's a narrative that's coming out that way. So
would like to think that's a good sign, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And then the Midnight category, which we'll talk about more in a second, has 2 films available online this year.
For everybody.
Yeah. So the first one is called The Best Summer. It almost sounds a bit like, you remember Meet Me in the Bathroom? Something which was sort of like chronicling the Strokes and the early 2000s rock bands. This one is doing something similar for
Midnight.
90s alt rock. Yeah, so 90s alt rock legends like Sonic Youth, Foo Fighters, Pavement, Rancid, Beck, Bikini Kill, the Beastie Boys are all featured in this documentary.
Nice. And then this last one was kind of interesting.
Yeah, the Rock Springs.
Yep.
Yeah, a pretty interesting cast in this one with Kelly Marie Tran, Benedict Wong, Jimmy O Yang. It's about a grieving family who moves to a new town only to find sinister secrets lurking in the woods behind their house, drawing from Chinese beliefs in telling this story. What jumped out to you about Rock Springs?
Well, one, that you got Kelly coming back.
Yeah.
I want to see her in a good movie. And
hey, Wedding Banquet. I like Wedding Banquet.
I want to see her in a movie that people will get expanded, because Wedding Banquet had everything going for it, and then they just flopped it, bro.
Yeah.
My boy had to leave SNL thinking he was going to get a hit, that he was going to get more than 2 lines in Wicked. Rock Springs, at least for the most part, I hope continues Kelly Marie Tran coming back into movies, because I do think she's a decent actress.
Definitely. All right, so those are the movies from Sundance that will be available online.
Now, let's give y'all some FOMO. Finishing up the Midnight category over here, Zach, I saw you put one at the top that I also had really, really high. And that is this one right there in the middle. Buddy. Come on. The name alone. You got 90 minutes. A brave girl and her friends must escape a kid's television show. Look at that. I love it. No wasting time. You know that gets me every single time. It's one of the first Midnight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, January 22nd. Yeah.
So again, another early premiere. You could take that as a sign that Sundance has high hopes for it.
Hopefully.
I have high hopes for it based on the director.
Oh, because tell him.
Casper Kelly is the guy behind Too Many Cooks, the viral Adult Swim short.
Oh, that
if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Interesting. He also wrote Mandy.
Yeah.
With what's his name? Nick Cage. So should be decent.
Yeah.
This is my number one, bro. This is my number one. You got Christian Milioti in there, Topher Grace, Keegan-Michael Keel. I think the best horrors come with comedy.
Yeah.
And that's why this one's right up my alley.
Definitely. There was a somewhat similar premised film in the Midnight category last year. I want to say it was called Crazy House. Nick what's his name? Nick Frost was the star of it. That one was kind of bad. I'm hoping
Hopefully
they're
it's
not going to
different.
do two bad horror comedies set in like fake sitcoms year back to back. I'm assuming this one will be better.
This has to be the good one. Yeah, it's about that time. Australia also has a good one. They know how to make horror, and it is called Leviticus. Two star-crossed teenage boys must escape a violent entity that takes the form of the person they desire most.
Some
I know.
LGBT
I think you got to see
horror.
it. Yeah, Amanda, I believe, did see it. Obsession at TIFF. So I'm
Yes,
very
Amanda
curious
saw
to
it.
see how this plays off, because this is coming from someone who's worked a lot with the Philippou brothers as well. So I feel like this one might be pretty good.
Yeah, not just that. Joe Bird, the star of it, is the kid in Talk to Me who sort of smashes his face on the table.
I'm looking at him and I was like, I've seen the face was intact. That's why.
That's the problem.
But I'm really looking forward to that one. Keeping it over there on the oceanic side of things, Mom, I'm alien pregnant. My bad. Got to make sure I get that one right. Funny. I think the title tells you everything you need to know right there. Hopefully it's good. This is one that I think we're going to have online as press. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and this team made a short with the same basic title in 2014. So it's probably a passion project that they've been working on for a little while.
Oh, yeah. Look, they even got that.
Yeah.
They've had that font set. Interesting. I might have to go find
And
this one.
if this maybe helps clue you into the tone of the comedy, one of the directors here was a camera person for Hunt for the Wilder People, the Taika Waititi film that I love.
Hell yeah, then. Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Moving on to this next one over here. I guess Australia said Sundance. Nobody else matters, bro. Saccharin. Another one coming out of the midnight category about Hannah, a lovelorn medical student who becomes terrorized by a hungry ghost after taking part in an obscure weight loss craze.
Yeah.
Eating human ashes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Great premise.
She was in Relic, which was a horror film. I think the first year we all got together. That was pretty good.
This director is the director of Relic.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see how this plays out. I think this was gonna be one of the gnarly ones for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Undertone comes from Canada, and it looks like it's gonna be really good because it's already played at other festivals, but they're not putting this in the spotlight category. This one also already has a date. Let me try to pull it up over here.
March
as you describe
13th,
what it is.
A24 is going to be releasing it.
And it's A24. So,
Yeah.
look, I'm always big on if it's going to come out right away, no need to see it. It's going to be right out. But this one's been getting really good buzz out of the horror festivals that it played at last year. So I'm really interested because it reminds me of one from South by a couple years ago where the podcaster was getting audio messages. I don't know if you remember
Was it
that one.
Monolith that we really liked?
Monolith. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. Another podcaster being haunted by mysterious recordings that are sent her way. It's already got the cosign, so I'm very excited to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, it's always nice to go into a film knowing it's got good reviews from Fantasia and some other places. Not a lot of those at Sundance, so we'll take them when we get them.
So that wraps up the midnight category right there from the ones that we saw. And again, I think we're both going Buddy on this one as a top pick out of this category.
Yeah, plenty of intriguing ones, but Buddy is the one that I'm trying the hardest to get in.
Let's go really quickly through the smallest category, which is actually the spotlight one. We only have two things right here. The first is it a documentary?
I mean,
Not a documentary?
I think it might be a filmed play. I'm not so sure about this one.
Yeah. It feels like one of those where it's not necessarily a Fathom event, but the National Theater type of releases. Excuse me. So this would be the first time that we're getting one of these. It's called Broken English. It played at Venice last year as well. Stars Tilda Swinton. So, I mean, I'm interested. But this will probably be one that I wait because it'll probably have a date very, very soon.
Yeah.
The one that I'm really interested in, I think you guys all caught it already.
Oh, yeah.
Tuner. Let them know, bro. Let me know. This is an opening night spotlight one. I'm going to be there. I have been waiting for this one.
Yeah, sometimes we say you don't have to worry about the spotlight ones because they've played at other festivals. They usually have a release date. I'm not so sure this one even has a distributor yet. It definitely does not have a release date.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite films from the Toronto International Film Festival last year. a really fun movie about a guy who, instead of hearing loss, has hearing addition, which allows him to crack safes, and he gets pulled into sort of like a home robbery scheme through that. He is a piano tuner by day when he's not working on helping rob rich people. Leo Woodall plays the tuner, a really excellent role for him, a guy who I've seen in a bunch of stuff, but I see him in a completely new way now that I know he can be a movie star like this. It's also got people like Dustin Hoffman and Havana Rose Liu amongst the cast. Just a really solid movie, an entertaining piece of film. Definitely going to be a good time. I hope you have time to catch this one.
So it sounds, and I don't want to speak for you, that that should pick out of these two right here.
I mean, look, I'm probably going to try to see Broken English, but I don't think I'll like it more than Tuner.
Than Tuner. So this is one that I'm eyeing. I'm really excited for that one. And then just to wrap up really quick for those who need to know, there is another 2-movie category that Sundance releases that is always technically geared for kids. I think they've changed the category now to be family, if I'm not mistaken.
Family matinee.
2 that we have there, is that what it is? Yeah, family matinee.
Yeah.
The 2 that we have here, the first one is Fing, which looks kind of delightful. Again, Australia coming in with what looks like is that Taika? I didn't even know Taika was in this.
Yeah, Taika's in this one. I'm also really intrigued because it stars my girl, Mia Wasikowska. Where have you been?
Damn. Wow. All right. Might have to catch our first kids film. I think the last one we all got was like My Life as a Zucchini. Then the other one is Cookie Queens, which is a documentary about the Girl Scout cookie season. Look. Bro, they ain't nobody do it like them. I want this to be a salacious piece about what they do to flip those cookies.
Could you imagine Boys State, but set in the world of Girl Scout cookies?
See, that's why Girl State didn't pop off, bro, because this is where they needed to go. So those are the 2 coming out of that category for the family matinees.
They're also doing a special screening of something called The Story of Documentary Film. And it's like in a category all of its own. It's only 60 minutes long. It says it traces the evolution of documentary film across time. It sounds super intriguing. It just is a matter of, can I find a part of my schedule where this is going to fit in?
Yeah, and this is a really big director because that's all they really ever do. Mark Cousins, we caught one of his at Chicago, where he was pretty much talking about this is what Germany did. They put the tanks this way, and then they put the tanks the other way. They didn't know what editing was. He got away with 3 tanks, and everyone thought it was an army. He makes really, really good films. I feel like the reason this one is a special screening is because it's a series. First episode, called The Beginning, followed by an extended Q&A. So again, technically it's episodic. They're trying to sneak it in there, but very good documentary, and I can vouch for him, so it makes sense. Very excited for this one as well.
Nice. Should we get into the rest of the premieres category?
Here we go. We've already talked a lot about a bunch of these movies. It's a mixture of documentaries. It's a mixture of narrative films. We'll just take it from the jump. The first one is one that they are touting a lot, the AI doc, or How I Became an Apocalypse. What do you think, Zach?
Apocalyptimist. I've been practicing that one.
I don't know if they're going to convert me into one, but maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a film that is co-directed by Daniel Roher, who directed Tuner, but also has done some documentaries at Sundance, including Navalny. So that definitely makes me intrigued, as well as the fact that this is produced by Daniel Kwan of The Daniels, an excellent filmmaker. Daniel Kwan, I just know from following him on Instagram, is like pretty vocally anti-AI. He's part of that new board of film people who's trying to establish like rules for the studios to follow involving AI use in film. It makes me think that this is going to be a pretty interesting look at AI, which, you know, for better or for worse, for the people who love it and the people who hate it, is definitely an inevitable thing that is part of everyday life and only going to be more so in the future. I have some interest in this one. It's not going to be the first documentary I check out, but I'm going to try and fit it in.
Focus Features has already picked it up March 27th. So
wow,
it's already got back.
Don't have to wait that long. Yep.
The next one that we have over here in the premieres is another documentary called Anti-Heroin, and it's all about Courtney Love. At 98 minutes. Look, I love a 98-minute movie, except when it comes to documentaries, biopics that are like covering a person's life. Dude, you could do 98 minutes just on one section of this woman's life.
Easily.
Like we said, I'm always curious when a documentarian's got a cinematographer that they're touting, and it's a cinematographer who worked on Cow, which was very beautifully shot. Magda Kowalczyk, I want to say her name is. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to break this one down. Anti-heroin. Only
Caitlin, as a very big Nirvana and Kurt Cobain fan, is not excited about this documentary, but
Why?
I'll probably watch it anyway. There's a lot of stuff there, obviously, between
I see
the history.
I see. Yeah. Well, then that's why I'm worried. At 98 minutes, I don't know what you're trying to pass by.
Yeah, honestly, just do 98 minutes on that whole chapter.
This next one's big for Zach because he's a big WNBA fan. The Brittany Griner story is going to be released, which is interesting because this is one of those that's like very late for press. This has already been picked up by ESPN, right? The director, Alex Stapleton, has made sports biopics that I do like. They just did the Sean Diddy Combs
I was gonna say
Netflix series.
A lot of people have seen his most recent documentary.
Or hers.
Oh, hers. Excuse me.
But Reggie is a really good documentary about the baseball player, his whole outlook on life and everything. And just a couple of years ago, she also did God Saves Texas, that 3-part Texas documentary series that had Richard Linklater do one of them. They were all focusing on a different aspect of their towns over there. I don't think they made a bad documentary, so I'm pretty curious to see what they're going to do with Britney's story, considering that this one is a little bit more than 90 minutes. It's 107 minutes. But
even the image there makes me feel like it's going to be a pretty typical kind of like ESPN 30 for 30 style documentary. Sometimes those are great. Sometimes those are just fine and watchable. We'll see
we get
where
the one
this one
from what's his name from a couple of years ago. The whole thing was just a diss track to to Skip Bayless. from Golden State, whatever his name is.
Geez.
Steph Curry. Steph Curry had his goofy stuff. This next one, though, Zach, tell the people about The Disciple because it might be second to The History of Concrete, one of my most anticipated ones.
Yeah, so this is the story of that Wu-Tang Clan album that somewhat notably they auctioned off and let the winner do whatever they want with it, and none other than Martin Shkreli bought it. A
ridiculous,
much loathed figure. Apparently, they are going to be showcasing the music in this movie for the first time. So it's no longer being held captive by a former hedge fund guy. Thankfully, very interesting premise for a documentary.
It looks good. Yeah. And again, not 90 minutes, and that's good for me. That's good in my book when it comes to ones like this.
Yeah.
Really quickly, we had mentioned Frank and Lewis, which is up here as well. Definitely giving a big thumbs up for that one that y'all should check out. Zach had Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass as one that's probably going to have us laughing a lot. I also had The Gallerist, which, I mean, Natalie Portman's in it. Nothing else needs to be said. But this next premiere over here is Give Me Ball, another documentary, this time coming from Liz Garbus and Elizabeth Wolfe, two really big documentarians.
Yeah.
Telling the story of Billie Jean King. Didn't they just have Battle of the Sexes too?
Yeah, they just did a new Battle of the Sexes, and I forget the woman's name, but she lost 6-3, 6-3 to Kyrgios. I know a lot of people had like questions about that event, but brings this back into the public consciousness a little bit.
I don't think they'll have a documentary on that new one, but
nah,
there's a reason why we have a documentary on this one because I mean she's one of the legends, bro.
Yeah,
she's already got her own biopic starring Emma Stone, and I'll be very interested to see how they break down her story here. Next one that we have over here is The History of Concrete, which we both gave rousing thumbs up to because it's going to be our most anticipated. Zach is very eager for I Want Your Sex. This one, dude, in the blink of an eye.
There's a world in which I put this on my top 5, but that world is not.
And you and I had the same feeling. Yeah. Why is this being released immediately, and why does that scare me? Because it makes me think that it's not going to hit. It's got everything going for it.
Exactly. I mean, there are a lot of movies we've seen that basically use Sundance as like a promotional boost premiere because they end up going online a week or a month later. we've also seen Never Early, Sometimes Always do a similar thing, and that was one of the best films I've ever seen at Sundance.
Was good. Yeah.
In the Blink of an Eye is coming out on February 27th. It's also going straight to Hulu, which I don't love. And I really don't love it for my guy, Andrew Stanton, who's been done dirty in the years since John Carter. I think John Carter is really underrated. But, like, even if you don't, everybody agrees that Wall-E is just a certified 5-star classic, right? And
Nemo. I'm throwing Nemo in there.
This is a man who knows how to make a good movie. Hasn't had a lot of opportunities to do it in live action, but
no, he has
I don't know,
not.
Man.
I'm still rooting for him.
Same.
The worry is that this is one that's not just getting a really big flip, but it's also a film that they already gave the Alfred P. Sloan prize to. And I want to say Love Me was not too long ago, and we have kind of learned what the Alfred P. Sloan prize is.
The Ethan Hawke
it's really
Tesla film that wasn't very good either.
Sometimes it's given to people and before the people who have voted, as we've talked to some people, keeping it on the low, that have said, yeah, we were just supposed to vote for this one. Not that big of a deal. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but with such a big flip, I'm literally just hoping that it's because he's doing Toy Story 5. So they're like, look, we're not going to give you a big push, but make whatever movie you want.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye. It was a blacklist script, so hopefully there's something good in there.
Okay.
And some of the remaining ones over here, bro, we haven't even mentioned your boy Seth Rogen. The Invite.
I very nearly put this one in my top 5, and maybe I should have.
It's in our top 10. It's in our top 10.
It's in the top 10 for sure. Yeah. Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde, Edward Norton. Olivia Wilde directed this one, actually. And we were just talking about this on our last live stream. Because, yes, none of us like Don't Worry, Darling. That seems to have universally been maligned.
Whoa. Some of us really don't like Don't Worry, Darling.
But most of us really like Booksmart. And also, generally speaking, liked Olivia Wilde prior to that whole era.
Exactly.
So I've got hope that she's still got some... Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Exactly. So I'm hopeful for The Invite. It could be a good time. A film about a pair of couples who get together for dinner and everything starts to go wrong. Classic setup.
Sounds good. So hopefully she fixes up this filmography over here because, Booksmart at South by was really good. Don't Worry, Darling was just too big. We'll call that one the Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey for her. Yeah. We'll keep it there. Wrapping up the last two, they are documentaries. Knife, The Attempted Murder of Salman Rushdie.
Yeah, I think there's another page, so you might. There's more than just two.
Oh, there's still more? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we got this one,
which is directed by Alex Gibney, who's made a lot of great documentaries. Going Clear, Going Clear, Enron, Smartest Guys in the Room.
Oh yeah, Zach's not kidding, bro. We have so much more. Besides the stock, we also have The Last First Winter K2, which is getting a lot of showings at like the biggest theaters, the Ray, the Eccles. So this is one that I think they're definitely going to want to push for its visuals.
Yeah, it might be in that. Sorry, it might be in that sort of like free solo brand of like extreme sport nature
exactly
documentaries.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be really interesting to catch there.
Directed by Amir Bar-Lev, who also has made a fair share of good documentaries like My Kid Could Paint That, Happy Valley, The Tillman Story. So I'm curious about The Last First, which is about climbers trying to climb K2.
That's crazy. Did you ever climb a mountain?
Bro, I don't like climbing hills. I'm not going to climb a mountain.
I don't like going up Main Street, much less.
Yeah.
But that is the first page, as Zach told me. There is a second page. There are still more movies, docs, and premieres. And the next one is The Moment, a movie that's coming out when, Zach? In the middle of Sundance.
Yeah, January 30th. We're not even going to be out of Utah by the time this one's in theaters.
But, again, just like that Americana doc, you get a pop star there. And I feel really bad comparing these two in particular, but you get a pop star there, even though it's coming out immediately. People will line up like crazy, and this seems like an interesting one. They got Timmy shouting it out. It's this feels like honestly it should be in the next category, if it were in competition.
It's Charlie has talked about not wanting to do a typical tour documentary because they all kind of feel similar, which she's totally right about. So they've made more of a like meta narrative here, which makes me think about a Sundance movie I didn't like very much called The Nowhere Inn, which was sort of St. Vincent's attempt to do something similar.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hold out hope this one's better.
And The Nowhere Inn was like, what's going on? I am hoping it's not that one with Jenna Ortega and The Weeknd. That's what I hope it's not like, because that's what
Yeah.
it reminds me a little bit too much of.
We don't want a hurry up tomorrow situation.
Thank you. Hurry up tomorrow. Do not want that.
No.
The next one over here is The Oldest Person in the World. I don't know if you know what this one's about, but
so it's sort of
the oldest
chronicling
person.
the changing title of world's oldest person, because obviously the person who is the world's oldest person doesn't hold on to that title very long.
a couple years ago they had The Most Beautiful Boy in the World as well, and it was like the same thing. How long
Yeah.
you having that before you're no longer a boy?
Exactly.
But that one should be interesting. Again, a nice
Yeah.
little tight 87 minutes, so you won't even age that much. But this next documentary, I think, looks so good. Once
Yes.
Upon a Time in Harlem. This just,
Yeah.
the cinematography looks clean. Let them know about this one.
It is about a party of luminaries of the Harlem Renaissance that takes place in 1972, which to me basically sounded like they're doing One Night in Miami, but in documentary form.
That's interesting.
I was also really intrigued because this film is co-directed by William Greaves, who died in 2014. I think
Bro.
it's his son, David, who
Yes.
finished it.
He's finishing the movie for his pops.
That's great.
Let's
That's really cool.
go, dude. Last year there was a film called Third Act, and it was very similar, where his father was a director, and he wanted to finish up this third act of his father's life
Right.
through that film as well. And this one, I mean, just looking at the stills from it, it just looks incredible. This is one of the very few documentaries. I mean, I'm more of a nerd, but this is one that I would want to see up in person on a screen, and it's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. Once Upon a
Yeah.
Time in Harlem. This feels like one that's going to make it all the way too.
Yeah, that looks excellent.
Let them know about this one right here. The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. 88 minutes. Got our boy.
Yeah, John Turturro. I love a movie with John Turturro. It's about a pickpocket who, after a theft goes awry, he's sent on a mission through New York to try and reclaim it. A nice little small crime story. I feel like this could be a fun
crime thriller.
Yeah.
The beauty of this one, dude, picked up by T Street.
Ooh. Okay.
Last movie from Sundance, was it Fair Play, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken? That one got the T Street pickup. Again, that being
Ryan Johnson's company.
boy. And the more that I looked at it, Noah Segan, as I pull him up over here, has been in a bunch of Ryan. It's like his boy.
Oh,
He's
okay.
been in Knives Out. He starred as like extras all the time. He was like the cop and stuff like that. Last Jedi, Bloom, or Brothers Bloom, Looper, and Brick. So
He's getting the opportunity.
can you imagine if he didn't sign it? He just said, no, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no thanks.
But that one looks pretty good. But if there was another documentary that you and I are going to catch in person, it's going to have to be Paralyzed by Hope, the Maria Bamford story.
Yeah, I really want to see this one.
2 hours. This looks like it's going to be a complete meal, dude.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's about Maria Bamford, who I think is one of the most sort of like undersung comedians working right now. Like, through some of her own struggles, hasn't really been out there, put a lot of stuff out there. Really hilarious, underrated Netflix show, Lady Dynamite, that is worth catching up on if you haven't. But this is also a documentary directed by Judd Apatow, who, aside from making some of the most iconic films that comedies of our lifetime, has been starting to do a pretty decent job of like chronicling the lives of iconic comedians through his Gary Shandling documentary, his George Carlin documentary. Now he's got a Maria Bamford one coming out. I'm really, really excited to catch this one.
Yeah, I like when you get feature film directors going to make documentaries, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to have a lot of heft drama to it, but at the same time, knowing them, it's reminding me of Will and Harper, and that just being like a very emotional journey as well. So Paralyzed by Hope, the Maria Bamford story, another one that I'd say it's going to have long legs going with it.
For sure.
Queen of Chess, another premiere documentary.
This one's following a 15-year-old Hungarian girl who is an aspiring chess champion. One of the interesting things about chess is, I guess, basically based on how quick young people's brains work. You find a lot of times there are these teenagers who come up and usurp the grand champions. So there's all these videos of like chess grandmasters struggling against like bored 15-year-olds. It just makes for an interesting kind of juxtaposition, I feel like.
To me, I think tennis, when they freak out and they throw their rackets,
Right.
is number one. Bit number 2, if you've ever seen chess people lose, it is the funniest thing.
Yeah, trying to freak out without moving any of the tiny pieces in front of you.
Checkmating their self, bro, when they lose. The only worry I have here, Rory Kennedy seems to be a very proficient documentarian. But
Right.
Downfall, the Boeing one, they didn't really do it for me. And that was the last Sundance one. Went straight to Netflix. I'm a little worried that it might just be by the numbers. And I can see why Netflix would want a chess movie.
100%.
They got one of the biggest chess shows out there.
Yeah.
The Queen of Chess. That'll be only in person until it's probably on Netflix. Zach, I made my brother watch The Baltimoreans.
Aw, how do you like it?
He thought it was okay. But he's been quoting Baltimoreans, all like just the title, because of what happened to the Ravens yesterday. I say all that because our boy is back doing a very similar thing to what he did with the Baltimoreans. One of the Duplass brothers is yet again finding a person and making a narrative off of their true story. And he killed it with the last one. I'm very excited for See You When I See You.
Yeah, so this one is about a family facing mental health struggles and grief, discovering healing and laughter through an uplifting journey together. And you got a lot of really great people in the cast, most notably our guy, Intercut guest himself, Cooper Raiff. The first time that Cooper is starring in a film in which he is not involved in the writing and producing.
That's crazy.
Which will be interesting to see him work in that kind of mode. But aside from Cooper Raiff, I'm a big fan of a lot of people in this cast.
You got Kamani Nanjiani, Caitlin Deaver, who's always fantastic. We need more of her. David Duchovny. It's gonna be super big.
Yeah, even my girl Ariella Barrere was the star of How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
That's your movie right there. I want to say writer. I don't think he's in the movie himself. Is Adam Caton Holland. He had a memoir called Tragedy Plus Time, a tragicomic memoir, and it's supposed to kind of be about that. So that's why it reminds me a lot of Baltimoreans and how it took his improv career and tried to make something with it.
Yeah.
There's also the return, if I'm not mistaken, of them directing at Sundance. Since...
Yeah, I mean...
Baghead? Puffy
Probably Baghead, yeah. It's been a long time since we had a J. Duplass directed film at Sundance.
I think they produced that one with the girl who like lived in the woods. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't know if I do.
Right here, Somebody Somewhere, Magic Hour. Penelope. That was the last one where they were producers.
Yeah, but even that is like an episodic show, right?
That was episodic, exactly. So I'm really excited to see them come back and do some stuff because your boy's catching up on industry, dude. And he's great.
He's so
really
good.
He's so good. See You When I See You. The next one, as we wrap it up over here, is The Shitheads. This is a movie that Dave Franco has been pushing a lot. These two were together most recently in that movie, Regretting You, and they talked about this movie nonstop. I thought he was director, Zach. No. No, he's just starring in it. He's the one who got Mason to also be in the movie as well. It's just about bozos.
Dope.
I want to like it.
Yeah. It's also...
I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there when you title your movie Shitheads. Either it's you know, setting yourself up like Mother Schmuckers, or you're going to have something good waiting for us.
Hey, even Shithouse, our boy knew to put the little asterisks.
Exactly. This one is directed by Macon Blair, intriguingly enough, who
Great
I love
actor.
as an actor.
Great actor.
Not sure how I feel about him as a filmmaker.
I know how I feel about him, and it's he won for this.
Yeah, I don't feel at home in this world anymore. Won Sundance. I still haven't seen it.
You don't have to. Went straight to Netflix right afterwards, and I almost doubted coming to the Sundance Film Festival after my first year. Nah, look, if anything, by the time you and I started going, sadly, the grand jury prize
hasn't been as strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the picks are still there. So that's my only concern when it comes to this movie because, look, Dave Franco's like, I have a limp, so I put a rock in my shoe to remind myself I had a limp. Take that as you will, folks.
Yeah.
But this will be coming out.
I like the cast. Yeah, not just them two, not just Mason Thames, like you said. Killer
Great
Mike
shirts.
is in this movie. Nicholas Braun, Peter Dinklage, Kieran Shipka. I think it'll be fun.
It's got everything, so we'll see. We'll be there. And that one's also going to be a premiere. Zach had also mentioned Time and Water. That is a premiere that's going to be online. We had also given... we have not shouted this one out yet. Troublemaker, another biopic.
It's about newly discovered interviews with Nelson Mandela, the Mandela tapes, famously.
Mandela effect. That's what this gonna be.
Did you catch that Antoine Fuqua is the director of this one? Training
Bro.
Day himself.
And that's exactly why I'm okay with this one not being online, because when you have a big filmmaker like that, it usually showcases that they're going to do. They're probably going to have a big run with this one as well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this one. But the thing is that we will have this online as press. So for our press members out there, this is one that you'll be able to book as well.
Very cool.
Also,
What
that's
else
going to be
we
two
got?
for him, huh? Dad and Michael this year? For Antoine?
He's got a busy 2026 ahead of him.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke is back. I remember one of the first big celebrities that I ran into, because he ran into something, was Ethan Hawke. The man tripped up right in front of the DoubleTree and gracefully just kept walking. Class act, bro.
Yeah.
I love Ethan Hawke. Ethan
I would
Hawke
expect
is
nothing
Sundance
less.
to me as well. I'll be there. Anytime Ethan Hawke has a movie, including that Tesla movie that you talked about, we're still there. When he directed Blaze, I was there. I'll be here for the wait as well. 2-hour, pretty big drama. I can see why it's a premiere. I don't know if it's been picked up yet.
This is about a desperate veteran who gets hired to smuggle a fortune of gold across 100 miles of wilderness, which, I don't know, that sounds pretty cool to me. It got maybe some sorcerer vibes, maybe some Sisu vibes. I don't know.
Interesting.
Important thing here is you got Ethan Hawke as well as Russell Crowe and your guy, Austin Amelio, from Hitman and Everybody Wants Some.
All right. Let's do it.
As well as Bunny Glover
I
last year Sundance.
I love that it's what's it called? The director is an editor turned director.
Yeah.
So those 2 hours better be worth it.
Crisp 2 hours.
Crisp 2 hours. On top of that, you had mentioned Sorcerer in a little side note. The what's it called? Someone did a meme. They were bringing something down the stairs and they're like, Sorcerer 19 whatever. Yeah, shout out my boy Austin Amelio. I had just rewatched Everybody Wants Some. He's fantastic in the movie. That little knuckle scene that they do. I really like him. Really good in Holler. But do not watch Bunny Lover from Sundance last year. The next one that we have over here, just a few more, is When a Witness Recants.
Yeah.
Again, I love the 2-hour runtime because this is a documentary about author Ta-Nehisi Coates and a story that he has. I think he's one of the best authors, writers, journalists that we have in this country.
Absolutely.
Look, you know me. I don't side with a lot of politicians or journalists or whatever it is. So when I do, I mean it. This guy has a way with words and a way with speaking. And now there's a documentary on this if you want to speak more about it.
Yeah, so this is directed by Dawn Porter, who has some good documentaries of her own under her belt.
Yep.
John Lewis, Good Trouble, Luther, Never Too Much. I know that you were a big fan of that one.
Fantastic
And she follows Ta-Nehisi Coates as he investigates the story of 3 Baltimore teens who were wrongly convicted. It looks like there's some like animation recreation happening here, something like that. So could be a really intriguing mixed media documentary.
Well, when you think of Flea, that also made it all the way as well.
Right.
I'm always intrigued to see when they put the budget to do something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm very curious. Another one that if you are a part of press, you will have available for you.
Yeah. And then we got one last film left in the premieres category, and it's another movie that's got a big slot at the Eccles in one of the opening days. So you'd like to think that Sundance has a lot of faith in this one. I'm excited too because it comes from directors Alex Houston Fisher and Eleanor Wilson, who made a movie that I really liked at Sundance a few years back. Save Yourselves. You remember that one?
Yeah.
It's a cute movie.
I remember it. They go out and they don't even realize that the world is ending.
Exactly.
That's
So
funny.
maybe they got a big step up on their hands with Wicker.
Yeah. The only thing is you've forgiven her for last year, right?
I have forgiven Olivia Colman for Jim Pie. I've
Just want to make sure.
blamed that movie on its filmmaker.
I'm going to laugh when Wicker's the only one showing at the Egyptian and you're getting PTSD flashbacks, bro. But like you said, I think in terms of press, we always know that by the first week on Tuesday, people leave. And I think this one is being played for press on a Wednesday. So we'll see how that plays out. But
is it a good sign? Is it a bad sign?
I don't know. I don't know. It makes it difficult for people who leave.
Yeah, this one is about a fisher woman who lives on the fringes of a seaside village. and one day she orders a wicker husband for herself. So it might have some of that quirky humor that Save Yourselves had as well.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Much better actors. Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård, Peter Dinklage, DeBecky. This one was rounding out my top 10 for my most anticipated. So I'm looking forward to this one. But it should be exciting.
Yeah.
That is the wrap-up for all the premieres, docs. We're over here about to wrap it up. Under 2 hours, giving you the entire lineup. Any questions that y'all have, any notes for these movies that you're like, hey, you missed this. This is directed by Let us know down below. Let us know any inquiries or all that stuff. But other than that, if we were to run back our top 5 in case you missed that.
Yeah. So the movies that we are most excited to see at this year's Sundance, for me, I started it off with that John Wilson documentary, The History of Concrete. Only the maker of How To with John Wilson can make the story of Concrete as entertaining as I'm sure it will be. I also got Run Amok, a story about a teenager who decides to stage a musical reenactment of a tragedy that took place at her high school 10 years ago. One of my hopes for the U.S. dramatic category is that this one is going to be quirky, subversive, and hilarious. I have How to Divorce During the War, which is from the World Dramatic category, following a couple that navigates their separation amidst a refugee crisis out of Ukraine. I think that could be a really interesting blend of external politics and internal domestic drama. I'm spotlighting I Want Your Sex, the return of Greg Araki to Sundance, a film about a young man who lands an exciting job with a provocative artist played by Cooper Hoffman and Olivia Wilde. I'm always down for a sexually suggestive comedy of sorts, so curious about that one. And I'm definitely curious, speaking of sexually suggestive comedies, about Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, a film directed by Wet Hot American Summer's own David Wayne, co-written by him and Ken Marino, with Zoe Dutch, John Hamm, John Slattery, Richard Kind, and Ken Marino in the cast.
Beautiful. I was giving shout-outs to Hot Water, Invite, Union County, but my top 5... doubling up the sex tape and History of Concrete. Mine went Z, the return of our guy Kogonada into the festival, bringing back Haley Lou Richardson in a movie about a woman being haunted by visions. That's just fascinating to me. Take Me Home was a short that I loved a couple of years ago, now being made into a feature about two sisters, one who has a disability and the other one who's trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to adopt you? The third one that I have over here is Josephine. Putting it up here, even though I hate this director's last film, but that should show you how intrigued I am to see what they're going to do here as Gemma Chan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And Channing Tatum. Kind of Gemma Channing Tatum. There you go. Deal with their child who witnesses a crime and how that unfolds. And then my top 2 has to go to the gallerist. Kathy Yan is back. She's coming with the girl Natalie Portman, Jenna Ortega, and there's some hijinks that are ensuing in the psychological thriller. But my number one's got to be Frank and Lewis, from a director that's been shortlisted for this year's Oscars and is very meticulous. And she's going to be following 2 really good actors here playing inmates. One of them is suffering from dementia, and it's about how they come together. It's going to be a good fest, Zach. It's going to be a really good fest. Great fest.
We're going to go out with a bang in Park City. We're so excited to do it. So excited to see all of you there. Please be sure to give us a wave, say hi if you see us. Don't be offended if we're running to a movie. Happens all the time.
Run with us. That means that movie's good.
Yeah, exactly. And as Art said, just feel free to send us in any questions, comments. We love hearing about the things that we didn't think to include. Help us make our decisions on what movies to see. We're also happy to give you any recommendations you need. If you are looking for the best place to order Thai food in Park City, we got you.
It's at the Junction.
Exactly. You got to make your way 20 minutes away, but it's worth it. The meal will be worth it. Or stacked sandwiches. We discovered
stacked sandwiches is beautiful.
It's really solid.
That was beautiful.
Alberto's we always go to.
Some good stuff here.
Oishi, if you're trying to spend a little bit of money.
Start giving them the bad choices so that we don't got a line of stack, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. We won't get a reservation to Oishi this year if we spotlight it too much.
Don't go to High Noon.
You done
I'm
with
trying to get in there this year. I want to, bro. I want to.
Yeah,
or if you do get into High Noon, let me know.
Bring us.
High West, my bad. High West.
Yeah,
High West.
Make some.
That's what it's
save
called.
some space for us. We want to drink.
Yeah.
All right, I think before we hit the 2-hour mark, we'll wrap things up. That's our 2026 Sundance Film Festival
Everything you need to know.
Preview. It's going to be a good fest, folks. If you want more from me, Zach Shevich, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd at ZShevich. That's ZShev, as in. There's no movies that start with a V this year. The alphabet ends a little bit early for Sundance.
Very good Christmas. V
is in victory. Who cares? Who cares? ICH. And check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplex show. Art, are you working on anything to mark the end of Sundance in Utah for LME?
To be honest with you, there's a lot of more Sundance coverage that I kind of teetered out from these last 5 years.
Yeah.
And you were reminding me that this is my 10th year. So if anything, I might look to catch up on all of it since movies don't expire and do my 10 years of Sundance and kind of go through, like I like to do, the genres of the past 10 years to put that all in there.
I love that.
That may be something I want to work to, yeah.
The history of Sundance's last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. What have been the best of, at least my time there, from each category, from each genre, from each, the docs and stuff. So that may be one of the things that I do leading up to it.
Looking forward to that over on the Let Me Explain channel. When you're done watching his videos, head over back to Intercut, where you can catch every episode of the podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, on whatever podcatcher you use. I use Overcast. Some people use Pocket Casts. I've never met a person who does, but our analytics say
crazy.
It is real. It's a real service that people use. And then make sure you're subscribed, not just to the audio, but to the video here on youtube.com/IntercutPod, where you can watch our bright, festive faces as we run through the latest in entertainment. Find new episodes of the Intercut podcast every Monday, and please leave us a comment, like the videos. Consider heading over to iTunes to give us the much requested 5-star review. Shout out to our listeners in America, in Canada, in the UK. We did really well on the film review charts over the holidays. Thanks to all of y'all. Let's keep it going. Let's get some 5-star reviews going. Like our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Twitter pages. Support our Patreon. You can find all of those at Intercut Pod. And if you go over to Patreon or click the join button here on YouTube, you can support the show for as little as $3 a month. See your name featured on the screen during the episodes. Get updates from us outside of the episodes. You see episodes like this one early. You get the live streams. You get the hangouts. It's a lot of cool stuff for becoming an InterCutie member. Check out the Discord with the link in the description of this episode. And you can get updates throughout the week there. But that's all for this edition of the Intercut Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, for the spirit of Robert Redford,